Some people call it the shoulder roll. I mean, the verbiage doesn't matter. I'm using my shoulder to parry my opponent's right hand. Greetings and welcome to my channel. As you can see, this video is about countering the right hand. So I made this video in response to the video that I just recently uploaded about throwing the right hand. So I'm going to shadow box a series of right hand counters. Blocking counter. This particular part of the video is about blocking and countering. So I block the right hand with my lead hand and immediately fire back my right hand to the chin or to the body. Most of the time it would be to the chin. It's very difficult to block a right hand, especially a strong right hand, and then turn around and level change and throw your right hand to the body. Okay, this part we're gonna parry the right hand and fire back the right hand to the chin or to the body, but most of the time to the chin. Parry the right hand with your lead hand and then fire your right hand to the chin or to the body. I prefer parry and counter to the blocking counter. To me, it diffuses the opponent's strength. I don't like blocking or catching if I can help it, as opposed to parrying the power right hand. I mean, anybody who's ever caught or blocked a power right hand, you still feel that right hand. Sometimes it throws you off your base. I mean, it's better than getting hit, but I would prefer to parry the right hand because it's like judo. You displace the power. You know, you redirect the power. Whereas if you block or catch the right hand, I mean, that power is still coming. That power is still being absorbed by your body. Frankly, counterpunching is pretty advanced. I mean, you have to learn how to defend before you can learn how to counter, because you're using your defense to generate offense. That's what counterpunching is all about. Okay, so our next counter is going to be the slip and fire. So when your opponent throws his right hand, you're going to slip and at the same time fire your right hand to his chin or body. So this is a simultaneous counter punch. You have two different types of counter punching. You have a delayed counter punch and you have a simultaneous counter punch. This counter is an example of a simultaneous counter or a same time counter. And the reason we call it a same time counter is because you throw your counter punch at the same time as your opponent throws his punch. So we're going to throw this counter right hand at the same time as your opponent throws his right hand. Now this next counter punch, the slip and fire, is a delayed counter. This is an example of a delayed counter. So when your opponent throws his right hand, you slip to the outside and throw your hook to the chin or to the liver. Hence the delay. You slip first, then you throw your hook. Me personally, I'm not a counterpuncher per se. I mean, counterpunching is not really my style. I know how to do it, but it's not natural for me to counterpunch. Now, my favorite counterpunch is the slip and punch, as far as the simultaneous right hand that we saw earlier. I mean, I love that counterpunch. I would slip under a jab or a right hand and slam my right hand into the breadbasket of my opponent. I mean, it works all the time for me. I like throwing the cross counter as well. When a person jab, I just throw my right cross over the jab. This slip and hook, I generally don't use this particular counter punch. Now I'm going to use the next one, which is the outside step and hook. A lot of people use this as having an old man moment here. A check hook. The next one, the next sequence that's coming up is the outside slip and hook. Now, they're similar. These two are similar. This slip to the outside and hook, and the outside step and hook is similar in that you're using your hook as the punch. However, this slip and hook is a delayed counter, and this next hook is a simultaneous counter. So here we go. So you'll see it. Side step, hook. You see, if you imagine the right hand to come, as the right hand is coming, I'm going to take this side step and throw my hook at the same time and recover my stance. Oh, and before I forget, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I mean, this is a new channel, so help me out, fellas. Now, I like this hook, and I do it a lot myself. Is I would throw the hook, and as you throw the hook, you create an angle, and that, especially when you recover your stance, you are at a different angle than you were in relation to your opponent. And you know boxers love angles. You take a look at the Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton fight, and you'll see Floyd Mayweather knock the snot out of Ricky Hatton with this punch. I mean, he does it way better than I do, but you get the idea. Frankly, I'm throwing my head too much doing these drills. I have to shorten up the movement. I preach no big movements. You have to tighten up your movement. Okay, here we go. The shoulder block. Some people call it the shoulder roll. I mean, the verbiage doesn't matter. I'm using my shoulder to parry my opponent's right hand, and I'm firing back my own right hand, whether it's a straight cross or an uppercut. Now, it's the same deal that I was talking about earlier as far as parrying the right hand. Now, what would help the shoulder block work better is if I take a half a step back as I shoulder block. Now, I don't really do it here. I noticed that I don't really do it here, but a lot of times in sparring, when I'm shoulder blocking, I take a half a step back, and it helps deflect that that power that I was speaking of earlier. And it doesn't throw me off my base, and I retain the balance to fire my own right hand. It takes a lot of sparring, some timing to get it right. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the second coming of James Toney, because I'm certainly not. However, just from my experience, when I shoulder block, I take a half a step back and fire back with my right hand. You got to have timing, and you got to have your distance correct. Now, when I want to land my uppercut, I actually don't take a half a step back. I kind of stay in and throw my uppercut toward the middle. Now I throw a big uppercut, and I aim it toward the middle. And if I miss my opponent's midsection, a lot of times I hit him in the chin. I just fire it. There it is. There was the uppercut. Now, I wouldn't recommend this particular counter in the amateurs because, I mean, the scoring is different in the amateurs. What the judges are looking at is different in the amateurs. And I really feel that the judging in the amateurs, if you try to do what you call a quote-unquote pro move, I think they hold it against you. That's just my 2 cents. Again, please like, subscribe, and comment on my video. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I mean, I will answer your questions, so feel free. The next counter that's coming up is I roll with the punch. I call it a pull counter because I'm actually pulling away from the punch, and I'm pulling myself farther along in my position. Obviously, Floyd Jr. made this move famous. He used it to counter a jab, but here I'm using it to counter the right hand. You situate yourself on to your front foot, so you giving your opponent a target. And when your opponent throws his right hand, you pull away from it, then you shoot your right hand. I mean, it's great for countering both the jab and the right hand, even though Floyd made it famous for countering the jab. You see, I have an active guard, so I really work my head movement, and I position myself onto my front foot. So essentially, I'm baiting my opponent to throw a punch, and when they throw that punch, I pull onto my rear foot, and I fire off my right hand. So here I have an active guard going. I position myself onto the front foot. The right hand is thrown, I pull, and I fire off my right hand. When I pull, I often bring up my lead hand as a second line of defense. Some people call it a leverage guard. I guess that's what it's called. It's called a leverage guard, a lever guard. But the reason I bring it up is just in case another punch comes, my arm is in between their punch and my face. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please leave questions. I will answer you guys. I want to thank you again for sitting through my session of shadow boxing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will upload a whole bunch more. God bless and be well.